I saw Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan's latest film, Sinners, recently, and all I can say is that it is absolutely phenomenal. Um, I have notes. If you see me on my phone or looking down, it's because I have my notes so that I'm not getting too off topic, not getting too off track. But really, what I'm just going to do here is some initial ramblings about the movie because there's just so much in it that I am thinking about and just need a place to put it. And I have a place to put it. So this video might be long, it might not be long, but either way, it's going to be pretty raw. So I hope those of you who have seen the movie come along with me, but be warned, there are going to be spoilers in this video. And I'm not going to be going over point by point. I'm just going to assume that you have seen the movie and are just wanting to engage in some things thematically with me. First off, I think that this is a proof of concept that we are still able to make original stories and original movies, and we don't have to succumb to the idea that you need to have existing IP, you need to have long-running IP, movies that have previously existed already in order to do this. We can make movies that are original stories. Coogler based a lot of this on his life. Story and art, be it music, writing, music, film, all of these things play off of each other and play off of our own personal, our souls, honestly. We take part of ourself and we put it into whatever we're doing. We put it into our brushstroke. We put it into our singing, our playing, our typing, our handwriting. We put it ourselves into our art. And that's what Coogler did here. His own family being from the South. Man, I mean, this guy is absolutely incredible. And honestly, if you haven't seen it, if you're thinking about seeing it, please go see it, because we need more movies to be made that are original proofs of concept. So they need to make money in order to let industries know that we want to see these movies. And I believe that if you're anything like me and you like movies in general, you want to see more of these IPs. Next thing is, I think that this is a part of a trend that has been going on of wanting things to be able, wanting to be able to tell that people have tried while they did something. There is a Nathan Zed video, shout out to Nathan Zed, video essay, where he talks about how it's becoming cool for people to try hard again. And he talks about Kendrick and Timothy Chalamet, but I want to lump Ryan Coogler in on this. Almost everything that he's done, beside Creed and Black Panther, which, though those are IP, I would argue it's different, but everything that he's done, you can tell that he's tried really hard, that he cares for the story or the property that he's working on. Clearly in Fruitvale Station, it's his story, birthed from him. Clearly in Sinners, it's birthed from him. Creed is a story that he brought to Sylvester Stallone. Though it was based on existing IP, it was really his own story, and he absolutely rocked it. There's care put into each character, put into the soundtrack. My goodness, Ludwig Göransson in this film, I mean, he is absolutely already on the level of Hans Zimmer. I won't say John Williams, but absolutely on the level of Hans Zimmer, and quickly is going to be vaulted into that stratosphere of, if he's making the soundtrack, it's probably good. And I would venture to say that he's really already there. Coogler has had him mostly to himself, but he's now branched out into a little bit in The Mandalorian, and he's branched out a little bit with Nolan, who used him in Oppenheimer. And I was surprised to see Ludwig, because I expected to see Hans working with Christopher Nolan, but Ludwig is really in that stratosphere. He's in that level, and it's really quite incredible. But again, both of these people are people who clearly are not afraid to try. They try new things. They try new elements, new storytelling tactics in film. It's quite beautiful, and I think that we can say that this is part of that trend based on the way that this film has been marketed. Kodak did a video with Ryan Coogler where it is entirely Ryan Coogler talking about the film format that the movie is shot on, all the ways that you can go see this movie. For those of you that don't know, it was shot in two very special formats. One being Panasonic's ultra wide, and the other being IMAX, including 70 millimeter. Unfortunately, there's no 70 millimeter available here where I am, but I did see it in the next closest, the 1.46 to 1 ratio. And let me tell you, if you can see it that way, please absolutely go see it that way. It is the only way to see this movie. If you're not going to be scared, if you're not going to be thrown off by a horror movie, or it's not really too long, it's 2 hours and 12 minutes, please go see it in IMAX. It's well worth the spend. It is well worth the spend. But they have an entire, I believe it's like 10-minute video of Ryan Coogler just explaining all the different ways that you can see it and explaining how IMAX film is special, how these different films are special, how there's more data in film, how there's it's just a more unique and special outlet, and it's really quite incredible to see. And so anyone who's thinking about seeing it and doesn't like vampires, but you like film in general, you like movies, it's really quite a special experience, even if you don't know all of the things that Ryan Coogler talks about. And he even makes it accessible for you to go be able to see it with that Kodak video. So if you don't like horror, I understand, but I will say that horror is a very unique genre. It's a very special genre in that it is maybe the most in the anatomy of story. The author says that horror is what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say primordial, but that's not the word that I'm looking for. Primal. It's a very primal genre. Horror speaks to fear and agitation and frustration, and because it speaks to these not just feelings but impulses, things that we can't really control. A lot of fear comes from the unknown, and a lot of horror plays on getting your system worked up, playing on your adrenaline. You walk out of it, almost shaking sometimes if a movie is particularly scary. But that's what's beautiful about it. A lot of filmmakers use that to make, hack and slash movies, a lot of schlock, a lot of slashers. And listen, I love slashers, but there's something special about when someone takes horror as their genre of choice and decides that they don't want to just make something to be gruesome. They want to make something because the genre has something to add to their story. And I think that's what Coogler did here. I could not imagine this not as a horror thriller action type movie. It has to be playing, because it is playing on ideas of losing loved ones. It's playing on ideas of literal vampirism. It has to be a genre that is able to bypass our brain and get to our body while also keeping our brain engaged. And I think horror is one of the only genres that can really do that and do it in a very special way. And I think that's what Coogler gets across here in this movie. The movie is not really about vampires. And in a way, it also is especially about vampires. It's about the vampirism that exists within culture, not just from those external to the culture, but also what happens when that vampirism affects those within. We see the head vampire, I think, is a beautiful example of this. The head vampire is an Irish man, and it's easy to, and they do talk about the Irish Catholic. That's like what we think about of Irish people in America. We think of the Irish Catholic. But it was really easy for me to forget until later that, the Irish people, before being colonialized and taken over by the Church of England, and, the Anglo-Saxons in general, were a largely, pagan people, not too dissimilar to West African cultures, largely animistic. And that crossover, I think, is very special, and I think it's played on in a very special way, where at the end, he quotes the Lord's Prayer. And normally, in a different vampire movie, that wouldn't be the case. The vampire would have been an expressly demonic figure, and to quote the Lord's Prayer would have been to essentially kill itself or harm itself. It wouldn't have been able to do that. But here, the villain is not necessarily the vampires. The villains are the vampires, they're the antagonists. But the villain, thematically, I believe, is more so our separation from our heritage and our culture. So there's a African spiritualist woman, there are these vampires. And the vampires take whatever is around them and use it in their own gain. He loves music. He was a singer and dancer, it appears. And when a person becomes a vampire, they become this kind of hive mind. And they all do exactly as the others do. They move in unison. They love what the others love. They like what the others like. And they share in each other's memories and experiences. At one point, a Chinese man is made into a vampire, and the head vampire can speak Chinese now. There is this assimilation that goes on with the vampirism. And I think that's especially poignant in this movie, because the movie, again, is not really about vampires. It's about music and heritage and culture. It is going to feel religious because, to me, religion is the highest form of participation that an individual or collective group of humans can have. It is the pinnacle of art, music, individual, communal participation together in a way to form meaning. That is what religion ultimately ends up being. That's why it's so impossible to, almost impossible to disentangle religion from a culture. And because of that, the vampires sucking out the culture, removing people from their culture, is very, very unique. Very, very unique take on vampirism. Though it is not exactly subtle, it's not in your face and stupid. Ryan Coogler does a fantastic job. Even something as simple as the vampires can't get into a building, can't get into a place unless you give them permission. So that is such a small thing, but it plays out to me so masterfully, so wonderfully, that they cannot get in unless they ask to get in. I'm not the one who should be covering it, I don't think, but it's also an amazing, I think, play on the music industry and how they can't get into the culture unless they're allowed in. But once they're allowed in, they infect everything. They infect everyone unless they are protected, unless they are protective. And people sacrifice themselves and others in order to partake in what appears to be the best way, what it appears to be proficient, what appears to be efficient. It is at the cost of heritage and culture. Sorry, I went off my notes a little bit, but that's okay. As a Christian, I have a couple of things. Oh, actually, hold on. Before I get there, I need to say Miles Catton, I think. Miles Catton. This is his first movie. He plays the kind of central figure outside of Michael B. Jordan's characters, the two twins. He plays Samuel, and he is so good. He can sing. I'm sure he can probably dance a little bit, and he's an amazing actor. He's a hell of an actor. as a first credit, not just in a major film, but he really gives a spectacular performance. Like it's incredible. All hats off to him. He is phenomenal in this movie. But back to what I was saying. As a Christian, I think I noticed something interesting that I want to see how it plays out, and I'm interested to hear y'all's thoughts about it. The African spiritualist plays a role that in the past would have been reserved for, a Catholic priest, or specifically an exorcist. She's the one who kind of can tell that these people are off, that they are vampires. She's the only one that knows what vampires are, and she is the one that is right about things. I will say, in recent history, the priest in a movie like this probably, ever since maybe The Exorcist, would have been played in a way that isn't exactly flattering. A priest might be there and might offer guidance and wisdom and might be right, but in many cases would be played to be largely impotent and ineffectual in actually dealing with the threat. But she is treated mostly the same way as a priest would be. She does die. She is actually faced with a problem of evil, which I think is unique and special and might be obvious to other people. But as a Christian who faces people asking them about the problem of evil, with relative frequency, I think it's important that people of all spiritualities come together and reckon, and atheists included, reckon with why bad things happen. I think that's central to the human experience, and she is treated with a lot of care and a lot of humanization. And again, it's not even so much that it's about her spirituality. It's not about witchcraft or voodoo or whatever. It is about the fact that she is connected to her heritage and wants to be connected to her heritage. That is, to me, thematically what grounds her, and what grounds her husband, her man, Smoke. It's what grounds him as well. What pulls him, I believe, away from his brother thematically. That he is grounded in some form of caring for the people around him and the heritage, and protecting that which could be overrun with vampires by the vampires. It's really quite a good movie. It's really quite good thematically, and I think if you have been hesitant to see this movie, I don't know why you would be watching this, but if you were hesitant to see this movie as a Christian, which I had a couple people tell me that, this is really special. I think this film is special, and was treated with a lot of care, and at no point did I feel like this was disrespectful to Christianity. In fact, I think Preacher Boy Samuel's father is maybe, I think, the only expressly Christian character in the movie, and he's a good man. He's genuinely a good man. Stay for the mid-credit scene. Stay for the post-credit scene as well. And this is an amazing movie. Ryan Coogler does it again. Definitely a strong. Maybe I'll come off of it upon more thought. I did say it yesterday, but definitely I'm giving it a 5 out of 5 right now. Appreciate y'all.